I'm sorry. I just opened the seeing Kuriko's, like, adventures with her boss, and I'm just like, holy crap. Alright, so that's funny. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Anne. Disembodied Hands Quiddy, Disembodied Beard John, and Disembodied Paws Kuriko with ears. Now, improved with ears. I'm also sleep-deprived Van again. For the second day in a row of waking up, today I went to bed earlier, right? And I woke up earlier. I woke up at 4 a.m. I could not get back to sleep. And while I was sleepless, I Googled Flonase, and it turns out that 7% of Flonase users report sleep interruption as one of the side effects. So 1 in 14 people. That appears to be me. So we're going to switch to Claritin. I'm trying every allergy med, folks. I'll report back. But yes. Yeah, your housemate has your back for sure. Hey, Chibi, long time no see. Hi. Hi. Oh, Kiki, I can say hi. Kiki also says hi. Alright. So we're going to be doing some stuff. Probably some gold. I want to get this sword done. It's annoying me. It's annoying me, everyone. Now that we got the silver all tacked together, we still need to do the gray highlighting and the black highlighting. But I think we'll just start with the gold. Get it knocked out. This model's almost done. We're just a sliver away. Yep, a poofy tail. Indeedy. Yeah. So here we are. We'll mix up our usual suspects while we chat. How goes the everything? Chibi, did your husband look into Royal Road? One of my writing coaches, Coach Terry, just started his web novel on Royal Road. I think he said he's about 10 chapters in. I always have to ask after your hubby's rating. Yeah. Yeah. If he's already got a series, he wants to continue doing that series probably on, regular. But I know how he gets, like, ideas, as you've described him. So I thought if he had a strong second idea, especially if it was had a strong progression fantasy bent, which I don't know if that's a genre he's into, but regular fantasy can do okay on Royal Road. It's just mostly lit RPG and progression. I happen to really love both of those, so progression's really where it's at for me, although I enjoy a good lit RPG too. But yeah, so it's a thing. It's just another way to get your work out there, right? I need to put my Glacier Blue somewhere. There, Glacier Blue will be up here for now. Stay. Yeah, right. Second edit on book 3. Yeah, I'm about to say, I was going to ask how many books he actually had out. But it sounds like he just has book 1 out so far. And he's, like, inching closer to book 2 being out. And, does he have a strategy? Like, is he going to release them, like, 6 months apart or 4 months apart or something like that? It sounds like he's getting both of them ready. The problem with ideas is you don't know which ones are the best ones. You have to usually sit on them for a while. And even then, you might be wrong. Book 2 is September. Nice. Excite. Great. Like, I didn't really start seeing 6, like, a workout in the way. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, now that I've got 3 out... You finally saw Nosferatu. Wow. It just goes to show that, like, things are always new to somebody. So we got our brown liner. I'm going to get my russet brown. I think is it kind of a dystopian sci-fi found family kind of book, I think, is genre. Chibi and I were discussing a genre in a previous stream, and I don't remember. I needed to shake up my russet brown better. Oh, is he having good results over on NetGalley? I've been thinking about that. Like, did he get any takers over on NetGalley? How's that strategy working? Astropunk in space, right? Okay, Fallout in space. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, he's had takers. Good. Excellente. Yeah, I'm finally getting to the point where after the course I took on Amazon ads, I'm finally getting Amazon ads to pay off for me again. Like, not in a huge way. Amazon ads is never a huge moneymaker. Like, Facebook ads gets you a lot more traffic, but also costs a lot more. So I have been, I'm actually making a profit this month. I might actually make more money from my writing this month than I make from streaming on Twitch, guys. That was a goal that, like, I wanted to make last year. Yeah, I know. Hooray for profit, right? Like, right now, actually, if we keep going to the end of the month and we kind of, like, keep scaling roughly this way, I may actually beat my little channel, not this Reaper income, obviously, but my Twitch channel income, which is awesome. But yeah, and Amazon ads are kind of painful because you do have to, like, tweak them, and once a week I have to sit down and tweak them and look for new ones to consider and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the rich leather. I'm going to put a little bit of russet brown on both of these. But yeah, so I'm excited. It's nice to hit that point before I put out book 4. I don't know that every month is going to be that way because writing is always very unpredictable. But I have a good feeling. Chibi's husband's books have really good covers. I really like the covers. The genre isn't quite my thing, but it's, I always get tempted by those covers. Yeah, profit, exactly. All right, so we're popping on together all of our colors. Boom, 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 boom. And we'll mix them all up, except I need to put a little bit of that into that. Awesome, Rage. Yay, way to support another stream author. Stream authors! Kermit Arms. We just need to, like, create a community of, like, authors, fantasy and sci-fi authors who are also into miniature painting. That's all. That's what we need to do. Alrighty. It's a real shame that the Flonase has a horrible side effect for me, by the way, because it actually is working really well. Like, it took one day to get going, but then it was working really well. So I'm kind of like, ooh, sad. Sag. But I kind of need to sleep, so. Yeah. Yeah, I had never tried nasal sprays before. I was always kind of cautious about them, but I mean, I was actually, like, yesterday it really helped. It's just that I've, like, my sleep has been so disrupted. So we'll try Claritin, we'll see. I'm just, like, my Zyrtec stopped working for me, so, which apparently is a thing and I never knew about. So we got that dark yellow. I don't typically reach for it, but I still like to have it mixed up just in case here. So yeah, I'm just kind of bummed that the Flonase apparently excites my brain so much that it wants to wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. and not go back to sleep for 2 hours. The good news is that at least I did manage to get my brain to go back to sleep. I like got up and made myself a fried egg, which is usually like my comfort food if I'm like not feeling well or sick or just need to put something in my stomach, because if I wake up and I'm up too long, I do get hungry. So I made my egg and then I went back and laid down and just really like tried to clear my mind, and eventually got another. David was wonderful. He like I mumbled something at him to the tune of what I'd gone through, and he let me sleep till 8. So my time. So that's nice. Hey there, Laura. All right, so let's get some of this yellow color onto his sword hilt and his buttons, and let's get in focus. Oh, that's way too close. I'll never stay in focus, or I'll never stay in camera there. Oop, there we go. Yeah. Like, he knows I've been struggling really hard with my allergies for the last, like, week or so, and like, he even fed Kiki so I didn't have to worry about Keekers. He's like, "You'll figure it out, honey." It's very sweet. And I will figure it out, but it's just, like, painful until I do. So I'm just putting in kind of reflected light here on the bottom of this. I've got that kind of, I picked up some light highlights last time that we were working on the gold. So, but now I want to bring in a little bit more yellow. If you don't bring in that yellow, that's why I mix it up, is just you're going to lose a lot of your color to your gold. It can be a very dramatic effect, but it can come off maybe a little less like gold. Hey there, Slayer. You should totally marry him or something. Yep. I know, David's a keeper. Like, I'm continually amazed that nobody had snapped him up prior to me coming along. I just got lucky. So the more I work on it, the more I think book 4, I think 3 Favors is going to end up being about 130,000 words. It's a monster. Monster book. I really wasn't expecting it to go that way. I was thinking about 90 to 100. But apparently, it just went a little crazy on me. So I'm going back down to Reaper in August twice. Once for ReaperCon, but before that, to do some video, guys. I can't tell you what about. It's top secret. Drink. But apparently you started drinking at 9:30, Korniko, so you're already ahead. I don't mind, because since I went into KU, since I'm in Kindle Unlimited now, longer books just mean, you know, more pennies. More pennies going into my bank account, so. But, yeah, it's a book that feels a lot like West of the Moon. Because it has a lot of adventures all over the Brightlands. You learn a lot more. You learn some more stuff about magic. Yeah, background for location. Yeah. You know, there are so many, I know so many fantasy and sci-fi authors who are ADHD, it's not even funny. And I don't even know, I mean when it's an ideas engine, it can be a plus, as long as you can sit down long enough to write, to actually get the words down. As long as you finish books. It sounds like he has no problem finishing books. He just maybe starts more than he finishes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Fantasy series is never going to be one book. Okay, as a fantasy author, let me just get this out there. Fantasy series will never be one book because you have to do so much freaking world building. Why are you going to stop at one book? It's a waste of time. Plus it's a terrible strategy because fantasy readers want a series. They at least want a trilogy, and they're much happier if you give them 5 or 7 or 10 books. It's a pain. I'm sorry, Chibi. Actually, did I grab my notes from my coaching yesterday? I had a writing coaching yesterday, and it was really, really useful. And I wanted to share some of it because some of it also might be useful for mini painters. I remember one of the things, and it depends on your strengths, right? This is Clifton Strengths Coaching, so my particular strengths may not be yours, but one strength that I have that a lot of us have is called input. And essentially, it's the part of you that just wants to binge content. It just wants to go down the rabbit hole. It's always asking why. That's its question. So if you are always asking why, and it just drives you to like do more and more and more reading on a thing, you probably have high input. And the thing that Terry said about input is that if, as a creative, you notice that your creativity just gets in a complete slump, it usually means you're actually not inputting enough. And by inputting enough, that means just binging. And it's not necessarily binging books. It could just be getting on the internet and researching a thing. It can be, starting a different hobby and learning about it. It could be binging on Netflix. It could be any of those things, right? Absorbing the works of an author you just discovered, But a lot of the time, if we're creatives, we can tend to see binging on Netflix as a waste of time, right? I should be painting, or I should be writing, or I should be etc. When actually, the way that our brains work, we have to have that downtime. We have to feed our inner creative. And this is something people have known for a while. I know that, what was it? The Artist's Journey books talked about it. But then they weren't talking about it in the metric of Clifton Strengths. And it's not true for everybody. But if you ask why a lot, if you get dragged down into the rabbit holes of the internet, or find yourself completely like binging a new series or a new, a new show or whatever, and you just it's like you just are absorbing it, like you just have to like continue. Sometimes that's in service to your creative side, especially if you're feeling like tired and not energized and not creative. A lot of times that'll be that you've been outputting too much and not inputting enough. So if you, for mini painters, this might look like, going on Instagram and just looking at all the pretty minis, instead of working on your own mini, right? But you need that. You need to get out. It could be also, if you also are a big learner, which I am, it could also be taking a workshop or a course, right, with mini painting, or doing mentoring or something like that. Hubby's either writing or coding. Yeah. Oh, it sounds like restorative. There's a strength called restorative that is always about the fix. And then if you also pair that with input, it's about the fix and fixing it the best way possible. Like fixing it so that it's never broken again. It's that kind of thing. And yeah, that can be a very you should have him take the Clifton Strengths test. It sounds like it. I'm not an expert. I'm not a coach. I'm not an expert. Terry and Becca and all the gang that I follow on her Patreon, they are the experts. But it's fascinating because it means that when you do have that metric, you can see where you're different, like the way you work, you can see where it comes from. And you can also kind of derail yourself if you start like getting really like into what they call a basement, which is when your strength is ruling you and you're not ruling it. Oh no, Kuro. That's a whole different thing. See, now if you get in that mode, which sometimes I get in that mode too, Kuro, I just don't go. I don't go look at pretty minis anymore. Like, I'll see Pretty Minis at shows, and then I'll get excited to, like, enter my own Pretty Mini in a show. But just going on Instagram, there's just so much of it, and so much of it is so very good. And it's easy to forget that, you know, that how hard these people have had to work to get it that way, right? And it can be really demoralizing. So often I just don't go on Insta for that reason. It's not that I couldn't do a lot of what they do, but it just makes me feel tired. Is that terrible? You put on the crime stuff in the background. Yeah, do not recommend. Yeah, that's terrible. So you can see that we have more room here, so we have more room for yellow. So this is reading as more yellow than this. So I can take my oxide and my yellow oxide, and I can try to bring that back in. The other thing I can also do is like to glaze with a lantern yellow after the fact, would bring this up. But it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. And I also should be bringing up a lighter highlight here, so that'll knock out some of that yellow look. It's good that you do that for your hubby HEB. It's good that you try to keep him focused, and I hope he appreciates it. Because sometimes it can just be a bear. Keyword try. Yeah, because, you know, it goes to a certain point, and then you just feel like you're nagging him. Yeah. I have that. I don't, not about writing, but I have those times with David where I'm just like, you know what? No. I reminded him, I'm done, right? If it doesn't happen, then it's on him. Yeah, you're blunt. Get your ass in the chair and put some words down in there. Get your ass in the chair and finish chapter 15. It's even worse when you've got... I feel like I have the unholy trifecta of strengths sometimes that trap me in this, but I also have the intellection strength, which is I like to think a lot. And the more I think, the better the book gets. And that's the problem, because I could be mired in it. I could just sit there and be mired in it and not move forward because, you know, the longer I wait, the better ideas I get. Like, I just got a new idea for the next favor that I'm about to start. And in this book, and like it's taken, you know, if I would have finished the book, you know, 3 months ago, like I wouldn't have gotten that idea. Dark fluff. All right, so we've got, I wanted to put a little bit of dark in there so that this looks shinier, so I can do a tiny bit of reflected light on the bottom part of this basket hilt. It's going to be kind of dicey because it's so small. Yeah, there are times when things do need to percolate, yeah. And that's a time to input too. Like, I find that the back burner of my brain is always going. There we go. Shiny. Shiny! So, like, I could put a project down for a while and I'll still, like, out of the blue get an idea for it. I used to put that was the stories, like, knocking on the trapdoor in my head. Like, saying, hey, it's time to work on me. That's right, we've got the weird, like, lady up here. Yeah, palette cleanser's fair. I mean, that's why I started Queenmaker, but lately I've just been immersed in this book. Although I still am getting ideas for Queenmaker, and I'm still jotting them down when I get them. Alright, so right now I've got this kind of like just a soft blend, but if I want it to be shinier, I need to put a shadow underneath this highlight. So, on this little, the end pommel of this. I'm going to put in the shadow instead of embracing that highlight, make it a harder shadow there. Then I'll put a reflected light underneath it, and we'll see how that looks. Alt history, thinking of getting back on after the fantasy. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I've been trying to limit my ideas. Like, really, I've just got... Right now, the stories I really want to write are the Queenmaker one, which is the progression fantasy. And it may be a cozy progression fantasy. I'm not certain how cozy it's going to be, but I think I'm shying away from violence and really bad stuff, I think, in that one. And it's going to have a bit of light romance in it as well. But then, yeah, after that, there's the lit RPG that one is really, really on the back burner. Like, it's, really, really. And then there's Kuroniko's Werewolf Paladin romance. I don't know how that's going to come out. Like, seriously, actually, Kuro, the Queenmaker characters are almost... The love interest has definite, like, parallels to that, so... You cooties romance. It's not quite, but it's like the main character, one of the starting antagonists in Queenmaker has that vibe. He has that vibe you want. So we'll see. That may end up turning out to be like where I go with that. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. Yeah, it's a little bit too predictable there with my stripies. So yeah, I'm still thinking about if I want to do the Werewolf Paladin romance as its own thing, or if I want it, or if it's just going to morph into like being part of one of the other series I want to write. Or maybe it'll turn out to be a palate cleanser. I don't know. It's all question marks in my head. All right, I need to blot that out. Trying to get that hilt to look right. Whatever happens is cool. You'll like it anyway. You probably will like this one. I think I'm really looking forward to Queenmaker. I feel like it's really gonna be a fun, cool read, and I like the characters a lot. So it can be hard to figure out on complicated areas like this how the light's gonna bounce and reflect and everything. I think I probably need to do the top here. Just know that I understand the vibe you want, Kuro, and I'm kind of in line with that vibe myself. So I think we'll get there. I don't know if I could write a pure romance novel. Like, it's always going to be like... I've been studying romances, and I really feel like I couldn't write a pure romance, even a pure like fantasy romance. I don't know. It's gotta. I always want the other plot in it. So I can write a fantasy with romance in it, but the romance is subplot, not main plot. I think I would have trouble writing it as a main plot. I don't know. Yep, yeah, urban fantasy. I mean, the thing is, like, you don't want to shift genres too much or you're going to, like, lose audience. A lot of people who read fantasy, they just want more fantasy. A lot of people who read sci-fi, they just want more sci-fi. So as far as strategy goes, he may consider having a pen name for the fantasy series. I think you could probably keep the same pen name for urban fantasy and fantasy if he has a consistent writing style, but it might not work as well. Yes, the romance is what happens when the actual plot is happening. Yes. You can never write romance marriage. Yeah. I mean, a pen name might be the answer. Especially if he's able to, like, you know, if he's able to, like, get his head down and really turn out books at a decent rate. But even if he doesn't, like, and I'm learning this myself, it's like, sure, everybody tells you that you should put out a book every 6 months, blah, blah, blah. It's more optimal to put a book out every blah, blah, blah. But the fact is that once you have a certain number of books published, your writing is still new to so many people. They're just going to see that you have a total of X books, and it isn't going to matter to them whether you released them one a year or one every 4 months. Like, so that's why the backlist thing is important, right? So I don't see a downside to, like, having a different pen name, even if you've only got one book under one pen name and 3 books under a different pen name. It is more work, especially if you're going to do author websites and stuff like that. You know, I think I just made this too dark, guys. It's mostly facing upward. I think I need to, like, bring it over a bit. I think that's my mistake here. I think I need to go back more to what I did have, but then also have that dark shadow. Yeah. Hey there, Ghoul Studio. We're good. Talking about writing, authors, stuff like that. That's why I work out, so that I can put off my senility and have more time to write books. Alright, yeah, I'm gonna make this more, bring it more over, because this is definitely a facing upward area, and I still want the shadow, but I'm gonna bring the yellow down a bit more. Alright, yeah, it's a little bit better. Still want reflected light. The interior. That looks a little better. Sanderson. You know, Slayer, it really depends. I really like his epic fantasy, Way of Kings, but it's long. And I started with Elantris and Warbreaker, is that it? But I think probably my favorite thing is actually a novella. I think it's called The Emperor's Soul. Remind me, Rach, I think we've talked about that before. Was it Emperor's Soul? Is that his novella? I thought The Emperor's Soul was a great, like, honestly better than a lot. Ritter Lake Blue. 9115, Polly. That's our Prussian, our close. Yep. All right, now I'm going to put some white in here so I can move the highlight down a bit. Oh yeah, that's true. Well, Trust in the Emerald Sea is also great. It's if you ever wanted to read a book that's like The Princess Bride, but only the woman has agency. And I love The Princess Bride, don't get me wrong. But at times, I want to smack Buttercup. So if you want to read The Princess Bride, except where the woman is rescuing the man, pick up Tress in the Emerald Sea. It's one of his pandemic novels, and it's good. Yeah, the only thing I've tried to read and couldn't finish and DNF'd by Sanderson is honestly the series that many people are fanatic about, which is Mistborn. I just really didn't like Mistborn. I didn't like the characters enough to stick with it. But yeah, I mean, Way of Kings, if you're into more classic fantasy, Way of Kings is really cool. The world is really cool. The characters are really cool. It's very complicated and very long. If you like very long. If you like epic fantasy. But at the same time, he's so into his Cosmere stuff where all of his books are kind of in the same universe. You won't get some of the stuff, some of the Easter eggs in Way of Kings if you haven't read some of his other stuff, but it's not a huge downside. I would not read it because of that. Yeah, I did not. It's 100%. Rach, we are so compatible on the book taste, I swear. Yeah, it was just, yeah. I wanted heist. I wanted it to stay lighter, but it just got much more, yeah. Generation 2 you loved. Is it lighter? Is it better characters? Stormlight. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I found. I mean, and I'm okay with epic fantasy starting a bit slow, right, Ghoul? Like, you expect it. It's good. You've got to build it. Like, that's part of the joy in reading a good epic fantasy is the way that the world builds. Alright, let me get this going on here. Still trying to kind of like figure it out. This little like there, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, otherwise you don't have the contrast. So much better characters, so I should look at Mistborn too, huh? I don't know. At this point, my to read list is crazy. Got books piling up in my Kindle Unlimited. All right, I feel like we're gonna do something on the underside here. Reflected light, but there's gonna be a lot of shadow here. So let's pop that shadow in. But the underside parts are going to be getting more reflected light. So I'm going to block in shadows. Yeah, he's a serious, like, fast writer. But that's, like... much more character development. Oh, good. Yeah, it needed that. Like... yeah, I have a lot of empathy for Pat Rothfuss, too. At least he's only got himself locked into, like, 3 books, right? Hopefully. But yeah, Sanderson is crazy how prolific he is. I think he really does just sit down, like, he does spend, like, a flat 8 hours writing, though. If a lot of writers can't do that. Or would, I suspect if it's like painting, it's something you'd have to work up to. It also depends on, like, it depends on your personality. Like, what your strengths are. Some people just do not have the capability of sitting there and being creative for 8 hours. It would exhaust them. I could do it for, like, 1 day. I actually did do it once, for a day. And it was exhausting. And it's same with painting. It's like I had to work my way up to painting for hours and hours. So just putting a little bit of my light yellow in here to get a little bit of highlights. Well, and now it's highly lucrative for him too, right, Chibi? So definitely may as well keep writing. At this point, he's also working on his publishing arm. And not everybody wants to do that either. Like, with the whole Kickstarter stuff, having his own, like, pretty much building his own business there. Gurm's different. I don't know, like... It is too many pieces. You're right. It's with there's just a lot, right? You've got this huge unwieldy story, and you've got to wrestle it into shape. Just trying to get a shadow kind of going down the center of the face as well. Yeah, and that's a problem, like, Book 10 of Wheel and Time, need a cleanser, yeah, for sure. Alright, so we need shadows. Shadows are really dark, so blot them out just a little bit. Yeah, really having that dark shadow really helps, like, create that shiny feel. Alright, and just a little bit more, I think, reflection down here on the bottom. Uh-oh, blorf. Boop, 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 boop. There. I think a lot, I don't know if he works like this, but with George, he's an intuitive writer. So he pretty much just writes without an outline, and that means, and I speak as being of that camp mostly, that means usually a lot of reworking, a lot of editing, and that's dangerous because then your energy can just, like, tank when you've got this giant thing you need to wrestle. Three Favors is going to be kind of like that. It has morphed a bit. I think that books, if you're an intuitive writer, books definitely tend to morph in the writing, no matter what your first concept is. And that makes it difficult sometimes when you have to go back and do those edits. It just takes a long time. And it takes a lot of energy. And if you're in a series, then you also need to, like, you know, make sure your books are in line with the series. See, I had no problem reading Name of the Wind and then just not even, like, reading further. I think I would still recommend Name of the Wind. But I also think that, like, I don't know, I can just enjoy the world and the story that he's building. I feel like Name of the Wind is a satisfying enough book on its own. And then you just put it down and you wait for a decade. Or more. Yeah, I didn't like the way the second book started. Like, I was just kind of meh about it. I pretty much put it down. I DNF'd it. Someday I'll pick it up and feel like reading it. Uh-oh, the allergies are coming, guys. They're coming. 1 second. Yeah. I think Name of the Wind is a perfectly satisfying book to read. Even though, you know, it's not the end of the story. But this is why I decided to write Bear Kings like I'm writing it. You know, where the books are, where it's more like Redwall, where each book is its own standalone story, and it's going to wrap up after the first two books, with the first two being their own story. And what that does, sadly, is it means that you're less likely to get as much read through, because people don't have to read through. If you don't care, you know, what happens to Ash and Satis after they go back to the Winter Palace, you don't have to read Rite of Winter, right? If you're not into Sola and the Foxes, you don't have to read Three Favors. Like, when it comes down to it, I'm still planning for there to be kind of a main set of books that tell the main story, of which North of the Wind is one coming out. But I guess, I don't know, at this point, I don't know that that's true anymore, because I'm giving information about magic, especially in the intervening books. Yeah, the Slow Regard or Silent Things. Yeah, the side story was great. I agree. Yeah, that's a cool way to do it. Some authors can do that, Polly. I mean, that's what web novel, that's what Royal Road is all about. You know, a lot of those people, once the book is complete on Royal Road, they're posting it chapter by chapter. Then once that, you know, that particular volume is done, they stub it and they put it up on Amazon. Then they, like, there are several stories that I've just been getting on Kindle Unlimited that I'm waiting for, like, the next book. But if I wanted to, I could go to Royal Road and read them. I just prefer to read them once that each book is done, so. But I'm a weirdo. Most people are over there reading them as they're being written. I have enough to read, though, that I don't really feel like I have to go chase down the next one of the series that I'm devouring. I do know that if I ever write a lit RPG, it has to be a kingdom builder, has to be a base builder. Something like that. I really enjoy those books, just for light popcorn reading when my brain is tired. Queenmaker definitely has some aspects of that as well. So doing our little buttons here, getting them all shiny. I'm just pretty much highlight top, highlight bottom with a button. Yeah, if you read mysteries, then you're used to that format, right? You're used to the format where, and that's kind of what I'm emulating with the Bear Kings, is I love mystery series, I love mystery novels, and I really like the fact that if you read them in order, you can see the character's progression, right? Like if you read the Hillerman novels, you can see Joe Leaphorn's progression through life. You can see Jim Cheese. You know, you can see the greater arc those characters have. But each book is still enjoyable as a standalone, and you don't have to read them in order. You just get a little bit extra if you read them in order, right? And I wish more fantasy did that sometimes. I guess it's difficult. It's not really what people expect for fantasy, but I think cozy fantasy is actually kind of going that way, though. Since it takes so much from cozy mystery, You've got a lot more series that are like standalone books. But yeah, the nice thing is that I'm finally turning the corner now on Three Favors to the point where I can see the end coming and I'm like excited about what I have left to write, which is just like, it's the best part of the book for me when I get past the 2/3 slog and I finally hit the whole, oh, now things are going to get fun, you know. I mean, they have been fun up to now, but there's like, when you've still got so much to write, you're just like, slog, slog, slog. Even if the slog is fun, it's still a slog. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this book isn't out till fall, much as I wanted to have it out in summer. That's why I'm glad I just said it was going to be out in 2025 and that was it. Like, that's pretty much how it's going to be. It's going to be like, every Bear Kings book is out this year. We don't know when, probably later. Yeah, I try to put enough information in each book so that, you know, you get a reference if you need to know something that happened in, you know, in West of the Moon. As it is, though, like, with things that do pull back from previous, but there's just, like, I think there's one or two. With Sola and the Winds, like, if you didn't read West of the Moon, you wouldn't know, you know, what happened, but you still, like, that might make you curious enough to go back and read those books, but you still should, you know. You should still have enough information in Three Favors to still get, oh, okay, you know. And then if you want to go back and read the other books, you can. I just want, if people just stumble onto a random book in my series, hopefully they'll still be able to enjoy it, and maybe it'll intrigue them and they'll go and read the others. Like, that's pretty much just what I want right there. That's my goal. Just touching this up a little bit. Also blorfing it. Because it's a blorfy kind of day. Blorfy. Very blorfy. So we've got those buttons done. That's good. We can't even see the inside of this, but I'll put some highlights on the... you can see a little bit of the bottom of the basket hilt on the other side of the sword, and I still need to get this panel here, which is not touched. So yeah, which is why I also I always liked CJ Cherry in her Chinner series. She when she got to the later books, like I think she starts doing it in Kif in the third book, but she did a What Has Gone Before, where she just did a quick like 3 or 4 page summary of the story till now, so that if people stumbled onto the new book, they would be able to read that. Because I actually didn't discover that series until I think I did pick up book 3 first. And having that reference was really cool because then I could finish the book, but then of course I went back and I read all the others. But since I was getting books from the library at that point, you know, you didn't always get the first book in the series. You might only see the third book in a series at the library. Yeah, Easter eggs are cool. I was talking to David last night and saying how people are going to hate my relationships. Like, if people nitpick me on anything, it's the fact that my characters have real relationships, which means that, you know, the person you start with isn't necessarily the person you end with. No spoilers, but... And this is just the way I have to write. Like, this is the way my brain sees, like, stuff developing. So... if it's a turnoff for people, I apologize, but it's the way it happens in my head, so that's the way it's happening. I'm not going to write problem-free relationships. Let's just put it that way. I don't think they exist. People would like them to exist. Yeah, I know, right? But some people will dislike it for that. Some people will be looking for more, you know, the happily ever after. And that's fair. And I may rate some books that are like that, but I don't know. I don't know. Let's just be prepared for complex relationships, guys. Very complex. Just putting in my highlights here, the underside. I don't want to go up too high, but I just want to give a sense of volume and a little bit of light sheen here. Kind of reflected light bouncing off, especially with that back and dark black background, you can really see it. So I'm going to do it. Happily ever after with a lycanthrope holy war. Well, yes, if I write it as a romance, for sure. And, you know, to be honest, you will get a happily ever after. You just might not get it until, like, several books are done. Like, lots of books. I hate... Okay, and this is probably from something I hate. Tell me if you agree, guys. Does it annoy you in a fantasy series when you have a great relationship, like a great, like, kind of adversarial relationship going on, and the author just ties it up way too early? And my favorite example on this is Robert Jordan with Nynaeve and Lan, where that was a fantastic relationship, and yet they, like, get together, like, early in the series, and then I just lose interest. And I'm like, that was an opportunity that Robert Jordan did not understand he had. No, I think you have to show, like, if the relationship is going to go sour, it has to take some time doing it, Bryce. Like, it's okay to have a happy ending in one book, and then have things slowly turn. But again, it can't be too abrupt, right? Like, there's so many... It's the same with both ways, with both a relationship happening and a relationship, like, slowly, like, falling apart. Like, you have to see it fall apart. You have to see it come together. The Nynaeve, I never know how to pronounce her name, and Lan in Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time. It took like a couple books, but it's like I wanted that relationship, that kind of, like, you know, frustrated relationship of theirs to, like, last longer. Book 1 of 97. Whoa. I mean, some people can write that fast, Turgeon. But it probably means that the books are very similar, right? Like, at their core. Not superficially. They're probably all different stories, like, if you look at them. But writing fast usually means you're working with the way, you know how your brain works story-wise, and that means that eventually every author's books are going to have, like, something that resonates the same, right? Like, we all want every book to be, like, fresh and new, but in reality, there are certain themes and certain types of characters that we come back to again and again. And that's part of how we build our fan bases, right? Because the people who are there for that sort of character, that sort of theme, they're going to come back to you again and again because they know that you'll deliver on it. Or it requires ghostwriters. Yeah. Headstrong, bossy wisdom, a flighty, nitty girl, and then they fade into the background. Yes, Polly! Yes! Exactly. Like, 100%. Yes, that's it. She's awesome, and then she gets, and then they're in loving together, and then, boop, then they just kind of disappear. And it sucks! It sucks so bad. Yeah, Nora Roberts. Yeah, I don't know. Nora's got to have 97 books published at this point, doesn't she? Who was it? Oh man, was it Jane Yolen? You know, who's been writing like children's and YA for forever, and she's got over 100 books. I didn't realize that. Yep, Nynaeve was my favorite. Yeah, and you know why? It was because she was different from all of the other freaking female characters he wrote. He was terrible at writing female characters. They were all cookie cutters with different hair and different shticks. And that's it. Sorry, Robert Jordan. Sorry. But it's true! And it's just, you know, it is what it is, and the story is still cool. Or it was, the thing is that it wasn't the story he was writing, right? And I get this, Butts. Like, I was frustrated about it, and it definitely contributed to me eventually dropping the series. But, like, when it comes down to it, Wheel of Time is really about Rand and Torrin and what's his name? The M name. The one I don't like. Matt. It's really about them, and it's mostly about Rand. And so when you've got side characters like that come to life, like, you have to kind of, like, you know, I get that they're not going to be a main focus, but you could have kept them, like, I don't know, it just could have been there. It was fun. It was fun, dang it. Yeah, Nora Roberts is a machine. Yeah, see, we someday, Marage, maybe you and I co-write a book. We agree on a lot. Yeah, that was his worst. So Robert Jordan, in order to give Robert Jordan equal time, he is amazing at world building. Just freaking amazing. Of all the fantasy series that I have read, Wheel of Time really stood out in my mind that his mythology felt real world. Like, his mythology felt like it was real. It just wasn't thrown together. It felt like it had roots, and it transforms the world for you. So, mythic verisimilitude is the term that I used to describe it. I think that's his absolute 100% strength. And he was a master of that. Like, so good at it. Just jaw-droppingly good at it. Yeah. Yeah, it could be fun. I've never co-written, but I have an author friend who does co-write, and she really enjoys it. It could be an interesting experiment sometime. Let me get Bear Kings done. But yeah, so there. Now we've given Robert Jordan props for the stuff that he's good at. We can we can't ever just give negatives about something. We gotta get both sides. You don't read as fast as you used to. Yeah, right. Yeah, I bet, Trojan. Yeah, DNF to, like, because if it's not worth it, yeah. Yes, yeah, that was good. That was a really good building, Butts. Yep. Yeah, that's and Nora, like, writing with a couple of pen names. Yep, yeah, for sure. I mean, all the respect to her. I read her. Somebody accused her of using ghostwriters, and she wrote a rebuttal. And pretty much laid out, like, how her life is in this rebuttal. She is someone who honestly loves to work. Like, she loves to work. She really gets frustrated whenever anything. She's kind of like me. She's really dependent on her schedule and her routine. And, like, she's at it all day, every day. She has to force herself to take family time and relax time on the weekend with her husband. Like, and when the cleaners come, she resents them for being in the house because they're disrupting her flow. Like, if you are like Brandon Sanderson or Nora Roberts, and you are able to sit there for 8 to 10 hours a day and write, and you're doing 1,000 to 2,000 words an hour, you are going to finish books fast. But God bless it, some of us just are not there. And I think there's a particular combo of strengths that goes into that, right? Being able to do that. And I'm sure that some of it you could train. Like, you could slowly train yourself if you had the ability in your environment to control your environment enough. I'm just going over the gold, making sure that I've got everything. I don't want to have to mix up this color again, these colors. There was one more part that I missed. No, I got that, and I got that. No, I guess I'm good. All right, we've got an S word. It's shiny, and we've got shiny buttons on his sleeve. Now we should do we've got time for the gray. Having to do the vacuuming myself is more invasive. It's true. Nora has written, wait. More than 225 novels. Yeah. Yep. There you go. But yeah, but if you got into your writing early in life and you were able to make it work, like she got, lucky. She really, took off relatively early, in her career. And for a while there, even she says though now, like in that rebuttal, she was like, I think she's talked about doing more than 4 books a year, like doing 5 or 6 books a year. But she's like, but remember, like, because she was writing for a long time before she got published. She's like, remember that a lot of this I have a start on, right? Like a lot of those books she had a start on. Now, these days, she's much more likely to do 3 books a year, which is, still fast. But again, if you're writing all day, every day, except for Sundays, you're going to put out a lot of words. But yeah, there's a lot. Was that the... Oh, yeah. Was published by Harlequin. Yeah. Yeah, I've read a few of her books. She's not my favorite writer, but she's very readable. I was reading one of her fantasy series as J.D. Robb. Alright, I'm going to get this gray mixed up. What did I use for the gray? Carbon, Stone, Cloudy. Alright. I've got those colors somewhere around here. Yeah. Well, and no writer is for everybody, right? Oh, and I still need to do eyeballs. We'll probably do black and eyeballs next time. Hey there, Richard. We just spent the whole stream talking about fantasy novels. You missed it. It's okay. We missed you is more like it. We missed you and your input. Kiki also says she missed your input. You'd probably have to hire somebody to, like, go through, as far as releasing his notes, somebody would have to put them into readable order. All right. There's our gray. David and you are disappointed the eyes are not done. Hey, I'm falling back to my original Anne where I've just decided to do the eyes last, Bryce. It's not always true these days that I wait till last for the eyes, but often I do. Yeah, no tangerine. Well, then I'm honored that you're one of my beta readers. If you have so little time, and yet you make time for me, Richard. I really appreciate it. I really do. You have really valuable feedback. You're a very thoughtful reader. You ask good questions. Get ready, the new book's going to be 130,000 words. I just came up with 2 scenes I definitely want to put in at the end. It's kind of like that, Bryce. I just never... Because I used to take so long to finish a mini, I just would never put the eyes on because they'd be staring at me, questioning why they weren't done yet. And I couldn't take it. All right, so there's our gray. So I'm gonna mix up quick highlight and a quick shadow. I'll probably just use brown liner to build the shadow. I don't think I want to toss another color in here, so let's build that shadow. So I'm gonna mix those together and make a darker gray. It's gonna make me a little bit of a browner gray there. I want to shade, and then I'll be mixing these for highlights pretty easily. All right, put a little bit more water in there. No eyes. Oh, well, I assume eventually you'll get to my new book, Kuro. I don't. If you can't beta read for this one, it's cool. I'm just always honored when any of you guys like pick up my stuff. Honestly, it tickles me to have people I know who have read my books and think they're good. It's one of the things that really keeps me going as a writer. So we'll build up a little bit of that, and we'll go up. I don't want to go too high on the cloth. I need it to stay kind of in the mid-range. I don't want to get too close to the silver. You always make time. Well, thank you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's actually the most common reason I've heard for people doing eyes early, Bryce, is that they otherwise they fear that they'll mess up the rest of the face when they try to do them. So, and that's legit. All right, let's get some shadows in here. But yeah, I'll be happy to get this book done. Then I can take a little bit of a break. And then restart on North of the Wind. And finally, eventually, somehow, sometime, we'll finally get to South of the Stars. It's just been a book that I've been waiting to write for a very long time. So I'm just going to bring up the highlight a bit toward the outside, the underside here. I'm going to highlight this with white as well, this little interior part. But yeah, I don't want this to go too high. I don't want it to be too light. Just want it to be enough to really bring out that edge. There's a leg under here, so I can kind of go up with a little bit of highlight to suggest more of a cylinder. I'm doing some wet blending here because I want to get it blocked in fast. Blended fast. Yeah, it is. It is encouraging, Richard, for sure. 100%. Yeah, I like interacting with people. If I ever get big enough, I'll do some YouTube live streams for my readers. You guys all know where to find me, top secret Reaper streams, but mostly I've decided to keep my mini painting and my writing a little bit separate. So and when I get a writing Patreon, it'll be a separate Patreon. Alright, so I've got a couple folds in here. I want to kind of dash those in with my shadow, just where I can see them. The legs coming up here, and then we've got a fold here. So kind of shadows like that. Hey, I work out so that I can be around for years in the future to finish more than one series. There's new neuroplasticity research saying that your cognitive abilities can actually increase into your 60s, 70s, and even 80s. So, just like the old D&D rules where, older characters got pluses to wisdom and intelligence. It turns out that's a thing. So that's my hope anyway, that I can keep writing. My coach Becca, the name of her platform is Author for Life, and I believe in that. I'm here for it. I want to be if I'm still around in my 90s, I want to be writing. I don't know. I break them a fair amount. I mean, there you go. There's a broken one, but we did pull-ups on Tuesday. I've been sleep deprived lately. I think I'm going to miss out on CrossFit tonight because Andrew and Allie are not going to be there, my favorite coaches. And we might get stuck with the gym owner, Tim, who's very drill sergeant. I prefer my nurturing coaches. So I'm more likely, that and the sleep dep, I'll probably just do a custom workout at home. Because I've been sleeping like crap it's been crazy bad. Like, I looked at my scores, like my Fitbit scores, and it's like last weekend is like, like a graph, and then as I look at my sleep, it's just going like it's bad. What was I saying, Turgeon? Well, I mean, you do need to work it. Like, like things like doing mental puzzles and things help. There's definitely foods also that can help your brain, like omega-3s, fruits and veggies. So yeah, it's not automatic, but I want to set myself up to succeed. I still want to be writing because I've got a lot of books in me if I can just stick around long enough. So, and I've always wanted to live till I was 100 anyway. I mean, if I already don't give a shit, like if I already have like, my give a shit meter is already short. I'm only 53. I shudder to think the epic heights I could reach if I got to 100. Yeah, challenge link on the main page I think would be a good idea. Yep, agree. #agree. So we are getting these folds in there. That one's a little bit abrupt. I'll put a little bit more layering into that. Remember, the more abrupt the transition, you're sending a message that the cloth has more of a sheen to it if you're doing an abrupt transition. Which, if you want that, great, but then you have to be consistent about it. I'd like this to be a little bit of a softer transition, so I'm layering in a little bit. Challenge accepted. Live. Yes. Oh, yuck. Richard, I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. Like, I woke up at 4 a.m. last night and I couldn't get back to sleep until finally at 6. I managed to get back to sleep, and then that was all like wake up, sleep, wake up, sleep, wake up, sleep. So I'm going to crash completely at 2 or 3 p.m. and need a nap. And yeah, I just don't think that lifting weights is where I'm at today. At least not CrossFit. Not a 6-round CrossFit AMRAP, or not AMRAP, but 6 rounds. For lately, our gym owner's been putting up these 6-round workouts, and they're just brutal. Yeah. That's funny, Treasure Mama. So we're working on the theory of relativity. What have you done? I put salt in my coffee. Yeah, I know, right? Those moments where you wonder at the direction your life has taken. But, you know, the whole theory of relativity thing is not for everybody. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to, like, if I'm really exhausted already, the last thing I should do to my body is go and give it a pretty, like, a blowout 6-round weightlifting workout. It's not even, like, movements that I hate, although I'm not a fan of box jumps, but it's just, like, it's something obnoxious, like 10 box jumps and then 10 ball slams and then a 150-meter run and doing it 6 times in a row and getting my heart rate like super high. And there are just times when my body needs rest, and right now this week, that's this. I mean, I went Tuesday, I did my workout, but I think I'm just gonna like do some deadlifts and push presses. And I probably shouldn't even do that, except I really, really want to stick to my weightlifting regimen. I want to do something. Heat wave. Just England, though. Oh. Oh. Poor England. Alright, let's get these sleeves going on. I've got at least the basics on this. Great. So I just want a little bit so that you can see that it's painted. It doesn't need to be super punchy. Yeah, I really want to run Saturday. I just got my new running shoes, Bryce. I'm so psyched. They feel so good. They're super high-end, like, probably the best shoes you can get as a beginner. I found out about them from my favorite running podcast / YouTube channel. He had a bunch of shoe people on talking about it, and they were listing, like, some of the best shoes that have come out for beginners in the last, like, you know, several years, yada yada. And I'm like, I'd never heard of those. They're not on my radar. And they were super high rated everywhere I looked, and so I was like, all right. So I blew the money for my birthday, and they arrived on Wednesday, yesterday. And I put them on, and it was like night and day over the shoes I was using. They're Adidas. They're the Evo SL. They're shiny. David's like, why are all your shoes pink? He's like, why are all the running shoes like pink? And I'm like, it's because I choose that color, sweetie. They come in other colors. I've never had Adidas before. I've never worn them. This is my shoe. And my favorite shirts to wear while I'm running are indeed fluorescent pink and fluorescent yellow. So they're cool. They got tiger stripes. No, I haven't seen the band marathon shoes. I assume they're not the carbon plate. The pink ones go faster. Ah, yes! I need to use that. Yes. Yes, black and insanely bold. There are white ones, and it seems like everybody wants the white ones, but they always sell out butts. Adidas has a good tennis shoe. Yeah, this is my first Adidas running shoe. But yeah, like, I put it on after I'd been wearing my other running shoes. And the great thing, they're so freaking light. Like, they feel like they don't weigh anything. I never understand running shoe manufacturers who make their shoes, like, weigh, like, heavy. I'm like, why do you ever want that? Yeah, I never want white either. Yeah, but I had fluorescent yellow. I've had purple ones. Yeah, me too, bots. I always pick the brightest. Because you're running. You need all of the, like, you need everything that can psych you up, right? And keep you going. Closer to the year 2050 than to the year 2000. Oh, God, Turgeon, stop it. Black with neon green. Yeah. Yeah, lightweight. Double rebound in the soles to push you back up when you run. Yeah. Yep. People can't hear your shoes. Interesting. He did, yes. Turgeon definitely chose violence. Interesting, Trash. I'll look that up. Yeah, I mean, it was bound to happen that they're gonna, because I mean, you've already got the carbon plate shoes, for the racers. But those are allowed. I hadn't heard the double rebound, but yeah, I mean, I bet they're springy and fun to run in. And if you're not racing, then awesome. But the other thing about all those heavily altered shoes is, like, you need the musculature to support them, right? Like, you're putting so much stress when you're running. You're putting strain on your body. You're building up, strength in your tendons and ligaments as well as your muscles. And that takes a lot of months. And so when you throw an extra, like, kind of, like, weird thing in, like, double rebound shoes, I imagine you could get injured pretty easily if you went high into that too fast. Bright running tights. Oh no, so your body gets better and your brain tanks. That's so sad, Kuro. So sad. I'm sorry. So there's some little wrinkles in here, so I'm gonna like pick out the stuff that I can see. Because otherwise the arm could be, a little bit boring here. Iron Man band running shoes. All right, I'm totally gonna click through and see. I'll read it afterwards. Banned list for 2025. Asics, New Balance, Hoka, and more have been prohibited. Interesting. The Adazero. Yeah, I'm using an Adazero, the beginner's Adazero. That's what I'm using for my things. Yeah, these are all racing shoes. Super racing shoes, yeah. Thicker than the four. I see. So they have a thicker stack. Foam cushioning, carbon plates, air chambers. So they're very tall. More than one solid plate. Yeah. Mega high soles. Interesting. The more height you have, the more efficiently you run. Interesting. Huh. That's a huge stack. I can't even imagine. It'd be like having giant foam things on your feet. Like, I'm looking at the stack height there, and stack height is how thick the sole is, guys. There's some insane thick soles. But apparently, yeah, if you get taller, you have an advantage. That explains why I suck. I'm short, right? Oh, man. The Spice Girls sneakers. Oh, no. Oh, that's hilarious. That's really funny. Okay, I got a little bit of too much of a highlight here. I just want a little bit more, because this arm is up more toward the light than the leg is. So I just want, yeah, there we go. We got some nice, you can see those folds coming in now. Oh yeah. That's funny, Twistoma. I mean, considering baseball is a summer sport, and during the day the horrible sun is trying to kill you, I think night baseball makes sense, actually. So I just want to get the backside here. Yeah, there probably is. Leg length and stack height for optimal speed, yeah. Well, now I know. Now I'm tempted to pick up a pair, but except that those really, really high-end professional running shoes run pretty expensive. I don't have $300 to drop on a pair of shoes. The ones that I just bought were $150. And usually I try to wait and get shoes on sale. Like, that's my jam. Like, I kind of stock shoes, and then I wait until they go down to like $75 and I buy them when somebody runs a sale or a clearance on an older model. That's how I've gotten most of my running shoes, but this time I actually splurged for the actual price. I hope I'm feeling good enough to run on Saturday morning. There we go. So we got some nice highlights there. We've got the micro folds coming out. Bouncing on rock fields. Yeah. No ankle support. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right. Alter used to do a yearly sale. Yeah. Yep, wait for the sale. Probably because everybody was waiting and they weren't making any sales on the other parts of the earbuds. It's a sad truth. Shoes are expensive. Just blending this in a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice sleeve. I like that sleeve. All right, good. Yay, highlights. And this one, we've already got our highlights on from the fire. So I'm going to do a little bit of highlighting along the seam here with the gray, but otherwise I've got to shade the underside. So let's do the shadow first. Shadows, shadows, and shadows. So we'll get, already put a shadow in there. Okay. The ugly dad shoes cost less. Yeah, but who wants ugly dad shoes? We all want the like super sleek, like awesome, like these guys. We all want the super sleek, super awesome shoes. I wasn't a fan of the stripes when I first saw them, but now they've grown on me. Now I think of them as my tiger shoes. So just highlighting the seams there. Need to line a little bit in here. There's a bit of a gap in the sleeve there between buttons that I need to pick up a little bit more. Oh my god, it's 15 after. I had totally lost track of time. Sorry guys, I didn't realize I was going so late. Everybody was like just chilling. Well, let me just finish this then, because we're almost done with the gray. And then next time it'll be just the eyeballs and finishing the black. Yeah. Yeah, Turgeon, thanks for being here. We liked having you here too. But yeah, I enjoyed our chat today, guys. I like talking writing every once in a while. It's fun. Keeps me motivated. Makes me think of my stories. Makes me want to work on it. Maybe I'll do a bunch of words today. I have a lot of video to edit, though, for the end of the month. Alright, yep, so we just need eyeballs and the black, and that's pretty much it. Got a bunch of black to do, though. He looks cool. Boop. I think he's turned out well. I'm a fan. Thank you, everybody. Glad you had yours today, Kuro. Thank you, Quindy, for modding. Thank you, Kuro. Thank you, Trashorama, for popping in. It was fun to talk to all of you today, and I hope you have a good one. And I hope I sleep tonight. Dude, cross your fingers for Anne, okay? But yeah, he looks really cool. I like the model. Like, it grew on me. It grew on me. I was like, for a while there, but now I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, eventually I hope to. Thank you, Rage. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and I will see you later. Adios.